What's up, you guys? Matt Jablonski here with the Point of Change. I'm going to give this live video just a couple minutes here, make sure it's working. See if I can pull this up on my phone over here, let you guys get here. If you're not watching live, you can drop a hashtag replay in the comments and still hang out with us. Making sure my StreamYard is working and everything. We're going to be using this for live interviews on the weekends. So I want to make sure that it's going to work with all the Facebook glitches that I've had recently. I'm not so convinced that it's gonna. Hey, it's working. I think we're working. So hopefully Zuckerberg gets up there and starts pedaling his little bike and starts sending out the notifications and stuff for this live video. As you guys come in, throw some hearts up on the video. Make a comment. Let me know where you're watching from, or a recovery date, or just a hey Maddie, or anything like that. Hang on here. There we go. Nice. It's working. Good. Pam, what's going on? Good to see ya. Thanks for stopping by. Nick, what's going on, man? Good to see you here. I'll get you guys on the calendar soon here, Nick. Get a hold of me. I'll get back to you here on that message. We'll decide if you guys want to come on together or if you'd like to do it separately or however you want to do it. But yeah, I would love to have you on here, man. On that note, we are bringing back the Point of Change meets, you guys, on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Central. I used to bring a guest on every weekend. We're bringing that back. So 2023 is bringing back the Point of Change meets. We are kicking off this weekend with Dana Moore on Sunday the 8th at 7 p.m. Central. Dana is a returning guest. She's been here. This will be her third rodeo here at the Point of Change, coming and sharing with us. She really likes to celebrate her recovery. My microphone was laying on the desk, you guys. My microphone was laying over there. I hope you could hear me. I hope you could hear me that whole time. I'm going to guess you could. Otherwise, people would have been telling me, Maddie, we can't fucking hear you. Michael McNeil's in the house. What's going on, Michael? Josh and Lori are here, 2/6/2020. Right on. Oh, Brandy, what? You don't see me, Maddie? I see you. I see you. Did I not call you out? Hi, Brandy. Hi, Brandy. I could hear. Good. I'm glad you could. There. We'll put that right there where it belongs. There. Nice. Nice. So yeah, Dana Moore is going to be here on Sunday. Tonight, I want to talk about the fear of losing friends when you come into recovery. The fear and the reality of losing friends when you come into recovery. That was a big thing that held me back in my active addiction from stepping away from the drugs. And I imagine a lot of you guys had that same fear, or at least on some level you thought about that I'm going to have to either not talk to these guys anymore, cut them off, or they're just not going to talk to me because I'm not going to do drugs anymore. So they're not going to be getting drugs from me or doing drugs with me. So why would they hang out with me? How am I going to meet friends if I don't do drugs? You can feel like you get that feeling like how are you going to live your life without drugs is kind of bleeds into a lot of different thoughts, and you kind of start to think like, how am I ever going to meet new friends? Am I going to even be fun without drugs? Am I just going to be a lame square from now on? That's a big resounding no. But let's talk about that fear. Did any of you guys struggle with that fear when you were in your active addiction, trying to step away from the drugs? Did you ever think about the fact that you were going to have to cut these people off? Did you not even think about that? What are your thoughts on that? Myself, it was kind of a fear of mine. I was afraid that I was going to lose all my friends, and it became a reality. Today, I still stay in contact with a few people from up north, but a lot of the people that I used to hang out with are still running and gunning. And some of them are in prison. Some of them are on the other side now, but I am very fortunate that quite a few people that I used to use with have found recovery, and I've been able to talk with them and still have a relationship with them. But the relationship is much different between people who used to use together most of the time. Sometimes you can have somebody that you used to use with, that you're in recovery with, that you still get along, like you're still just totally run around and have all kinds of fun just being sober, but most of the time, when you have a pattern that you've developed with someone in your life, it's really hard to get out of that pattern. So most of the time when you hang out with the people that you used to use with, it's not going to be the same, energy that you used to have. You're putting out a different energy in the world in general, So like the people that I used to hang out with on a regular basis in my active addiction, in my recovery, some of them are in recovery as well. But that relationship will just never be the same. So, and I myself, I acknowledge that and I know that. And I've seen others that I used to use with that are in recovery now that have learned that same lesson that, hey, yeah, we can still be buddies or whatever and talk on Facebook. And maybe if you're in town, we'll get a cup of coffee or something. But the old hanging out all the time days are, we seen where that led us. That's what we used to do together. And if you start hanging around the same people you used to use with and running around and doing, buddy stuff, it would be real easy for one of you to start getting the notion of getting high and the other one to just fall into that energy, so it's better off to not risk it. Not risking your recovery is huge. It's really big that we protect this life that we've developed, and it's good for you and it's good for them to have those healthy boundaries. But yeah, for the most part, that fear did become a reality. I lost most of the friends that I used to hang out with. I don't talk to anymore, and my circle is extremely small these days. I only have my one closest friend, Ryan, and then I have a few friends that I still hang out with and have, contact with, but most of the time is Ryan. He's like my go-to guy that I hang out with. And outside of that is like my Facebook friends and my world around that, my support system and stuff, but as far as like hanging out and doing stuff, it's me and Ryan. That's like it, but that biggest fear of mine has become one of the biggest blessings in my life. Not having a lot of friends really keeps you safe from a lot of the bullshit in this world. This world is full of nonsense, and people, even the best people, are manipulated by dark sides sometimes. And you can get screwed over by having a lot of people around you. It opens up a lot more opportunities for people to stab you in the back when you have a lot of people around you. So for me, I love my tight circle. I really have a lot more of a genuine connection with a few friends. And when you have a lot of friends, you become so spread thin. Yeah, you got a lot of friends, but like you don't know anything about those people. If I asked you what their parents' names are, or like even their freaking birthday, or how many siblings they have, you have no idea. You just got a bunch of friends you don't know shit about. Whereas when you only have a few friends, you know their parents, you know their friends, you know their family, you know their brothers and sisters, and you're friends with the whole family in some cases. So for me, the relationships in recovery go a lot deeper than any of the relationships I had in my active addiction. So I'll take the relationships I've built, developed, and rekindled in my recovery compared to all the relationships I had in my active addiction that were just very shallow, and a lot of those people were so ready to ditch me and so ready to ditch you. Back in the active days, man, it was like as soon as you'd go to jail, they were stealing your shit and banging your girl and taking your car and breaking into your house and stealing all your drugs. Like the minute those handcuffs went on, it was like you were dead, and they'd show the true colors of what they really thought about you, So in recovery, you lose pretty much all of the friends you had in your active addiction. But you gain a whole new world of friends and family that are more tight-knit than anything you've ever had in your past. And it's a wonderful thing. It really is. And here's the really big reality of the whole thing is we have this fear that if we step away from the drugs or the alcohol or whatever your addiction is, if you step away from that you're going to lose your friends. Here's the reality of it. If you stay there, you're going to lose more friends, honestly, because if you stay in your active addiction, your friends are going to frickin' start going to prison. They're going to start dying, or they're going to start getting their lives together, and they're going to stop doing drugs. So they're not going to come hang out with you anymore because now they got a kid and a wife or whatever. So they end their part. So a lot of people just mature out of addiction. That happens a lot more than we talk about. There's people like you and me that had to get locked in a steel cage or had to go to rehab 1,000 times or whatever it was before we found recovery. But a lot of times in this world, people just kind of mature out of addiction. They just end up, life starts happening and they kind of just step away from that lifestyle, and they don't really go into what we would call an active recovery lifestyle, but they're just doing the damn thing. It just how their life played out. And that happens a lot. And if you're stuck in your active addiction, what happens is you end up on this revolving door, because addiction is like this, it's like a tunnel that we go through in our life, right? And a lot of people come out the other side, but while you're in that tunnel, if you decide to hang out in there and stay there, the other people that you're hanging out with are just going to, a lot of them are just going to keep going through that tunnel. Either they end up in prison or dead or recovery at the other end of the tunnel, but a lot of people are going to go right past, and you end up hanging out with younger and younger crowds is what generally happens. You ever remember doing meth with an old guy in a trailer? And they'd be like you're like, wow, how's this old guy hanging out with these 20-year-olds? Because he never got out of the fucking tunnel, bro. He's still in there, and now he's hanging out with these young fucking kids because all of his friends passed away, went to prison, or fucking got their lives together, and he doesn't have any of them anymore, so the yes, you're going to have to make new relationships in recovery, but you're going to end up making new friends if you stay in addiction because of that same bullshit that's happening. You know what I mean? So you're better off to just step away from those friends on your own terms and make a life of intention and find a life of recovery. And a beautiful alternative to this. And that's why, although I'm not in NA helped me in the beginning of my recovery, but I'm not a member and I don't attend meetings. But I give them all the credit in the world for that program, because not only does it help you with your recovery and help you walk through the 12 steps and help you step away from the addictions and break the chains and the things that were holding you back, but you're also at the same time being tied in with the community. It's bringing you into a fellowship of other people who have been where you are, and instantly not only bringing you into the care of recovery, but also giving you a little bit of social skills and bringing you around a new network instantly. If you do recovery the opposite way, like a lot of us have, the DIY way, what you end up having to do is develop your own community. Like for me, it's been church. And for me, it's been church and Facebook, I should say, have been my communities that I've grown in. Which is still, I'm not trying to say it's less than, it's just a different path. And it just adds a little more difficulty to your path. Like you're going to have to take that on yourself to put together your own community, to put together your own support system, to put together your whole own recovery. It's DIY, you're doing this yourself. So when you go with a program, there's nothing wrong with that. Getting involved with NA, getting involved with AA, Smart Recovery, Celebrate Recovery, whatever's available in your area, getting involved with those groups and creating a social network for yourself. And if you're not going that route, there's always here on Facebook, or if that's not available in your area, because a lot of times when you come into recovery, you're not just cutting off with all of your friends, but a lot of us had to cut off a bunch of our family members too, because either they're toxic or they're still in their active addiction. So you step away from the drugs. You don't just step away from the drugs. You step away from everyone and like most of everything you have to step away from and get into something completely different. But if you want something different to come out of your life, if you are not happy with what is coming out of your life, if what's coming out is anger and disappointment and breakups and terrible relationships and all this stuff, start looking at what you're putting into your life. Start looking at what you got coming in, because if you want to change the output, you have to change the input. And if you start to see, oh, well, shit, I'm putting in drugs and a job that I hate, or if I have a job, or whatever it is that you're putting it in that is adding to this output of like, you just don't like your life, you got to change the input. And like me, I was never religious, but for me, when I came into recovery, once I got to that point, it was kind of like, I'm down with putting anything good in, and going to church on the regular basis and hearing sermons and stuff like that. You can say whatever you want about religion, about all that, but it's all good stuff that they talk about when you go there. It's all teaching you good morals and teaching you all this, basic life shit, that's really good for you to hear and gets you around a community of people that are all looking for goodness, So that for me was something that I was not used to. And it was a total way to change the input in my life. It was something that I can put in to change what's coming out of my life, because you know, what you're putting in now ain't working. You might as well try something different, right? So that's kind of where my mindset was on it. And I'm very thankful for the life I've built. What's going on, Gavin? Good to see you, man. Joanna, good to see you. Joni's here. What's going on, Joni? Are we all digging the sideways screen? Are you good with the sideways screen? I see it's got closed captioning on this. Look at that. Look at that. I don't know if you have it on your phone, but I have it up here. It's mispronouncing everything I'm saying. That's nice. That's nice. Now we're helping out the what's the word I'm looking for? Not visually impaired. It'd be auditory impaired. Is that the word I'm looking for? The hearing impaired. There. I'm overthinking it. It's a real simple word, hearing. Genesee, I'm getting off of probation next month. 1.5 instead of 3 years. I'm rocking it. Right on. Don't take this time for granted, though. Don't you dare take this time for granted. You keep your boots on the ground. You're doing great, though. So just keep doing what you're doing and you'll make it. You know, just don't start hanging out with douchebags. Don't start skipping work. Don't start partying. You just keep doing what you're doing and you're going to be fine. You know, stay away from douchebags. That should be like that should be like a slogan in recovery. Just stay away from douchebags. If I could give you one piece of advice that's going to help your recovery, is when you start picking up douchebaggy vibes, run away. Run away from anyone that brings douchebaggy vibes in your life. Oh, let's see. Coming back down. Salty, I'm doing good. Dealing with grief. My birthday is Sunday and it's a hard time. And just staying vigilant. Happy, healthy, and clean. Right on, bro. Right on. That's good to hear that you're staying that. Just, you know that grief comes in waves. I'm sure you know, but it's always good to have a little reminder. Grief comes in waves. So you're going to have days where you're like, I'm so thankful for the life they lived. And I'm so thankful that I had them in my life and thankful for the friendship and stuff like that. And then you're going to have days where it's just like, I just miss them so much. And I miss their voice and I miss this and miss that. And then you're going to have days where it just feels completely unfair. You know, it's such a wave to ride. So just don't think that you're out of the woods. That's just kind of a forewarning, is sometimes we feel like we're over it, you know, or something. And then the waves hit you again, you know. So just know that sometimes when you feel like those good times, you know, it's life isn't like once you pass one challenge, it never comes back. You know what I mean? We have to be ready for that challenge to come back again, or that fear, or that pain to come back again. And I'm right there with you, bro. I'm pushing through a lot of grief lately. But I'm trying to allow it to push me forward, trying to allow it to, trying to live my life for those people that passed away, that like lived the life that they knew I was capable of living, you know, and taking their deaths as a reminder that we all got an expiration date and we have no idea when it's coming. So we got a lot of work to do here, you know, not trying to put like a overwhelming weight, but it's just a reminder that, hey, if you want to get to that beautiful life that you've always dreamt of, we really got to get the boots on the ground and get to working. You know, I think that's like the third time I've said boots on the ground in this video. I apologize for my overuse of boots on the ground. It just seems right, so I'm using it. Okay, we need boots on the ground in this recovery. We got to keep moving forward, all right? Can't be sitting on our asses. Boots on the ground, all right. But I've had, you know, I had a good friend of mine take his own life not that long ago. And that's one of those pains that's like so unexpected and comes out of nowhere. And you're just like, poof, all of a sudden it's like, what? They're gone, you know? And as somebody who has suffered with suicidal thoughts most of my life, and I've attempted suicide twice, and I'm very thankful that that out of the millions of urges that I've had, that I never did it. And out of the 2 times that I tried, I'm very thankful that I failed, because had I ever succeeded, or had I ever decided to do that, I never would have climbed that mountain that I climbed. I never would have jumped out of that airplane. I never would have met Caitlin. You know, I never would have talked to Tommy Chong. Like some amazing things that I've done in my life. And I wouldn't have seen any of those things if I would have made that decision. So if you're ever struggling with those thoughts, know not to make that decision, because there are beautiful things still ahead of you. And like, you have so much life to live. I would rather hear that you packed up your bags and ran the fuck away and got a different job or did something, change some things, do whatever. If you're on the verge of going to put a bullet in your brain anyways, then what's the difference? Fucking run away, like don't do that. Please don't ever make that decision, any of you guys. Reach out, talk to people, and even if you don't feel that way, reach out and talk to people, because somebody else might be feeling that way, But when he passed away, I went into a world of self-blame, I guess. I blamed myself hardcore, because out of all the people that I made amends with him years back in 2019. I made amends with him on some dirty shit I pulled back in my active addiction. We had a really good conversation. He forgave me for everything, told me he just got pissed because he knew I could do better than what I was doing. And that's what got him so pissed off, And we had a really good conversation. But then I didn't talk to him again after 2019. And so I really took a lot of blame on him doing that. If I had reached out, if I had stayed in contact, if I had, tried to talk to him more, like maybe he wouldn't have done that. And it took a good friend of mine here, Michael McNeil, to make me realize that, maybe I'm right. Maybe that would have saved him, but maybe it wouldn't have, because I know myself, I have those thoughts. I've struggled with suicidal thoughts my whole life. And, if I ever would have done it, it would have been on a day where I talked to people, and then later on would have done that, so it could have been that I would have talked to Joe, and then it would have been one of those situations where I'd have been saying, what? I just talked to him yesterday, or I just talked to him earlier. How, what do you mean? Why could this happen? So I went through a while there where I was messaging every single person I could, like continuously throughout the day, like going to my phone, finding the next person. And I just kept having this image in my head that, somebody out there's going to do it. Somebody out there's going to do it again. And you have to be there. You have to save the next one. You have to stop the next one. And it just beat me for days and days. And this is something that brought me a little bit of peace when Tammy passed away recently too, when Tammy Pouliot passed away. And the little bit of peace I could find in her passing away was God telling me, Maddie, people don't just pass away from suicide. You can't save everybody. Stop beating yourself up. Stop blowing up this phone. Stop being so unpresent in the moment, trying to save the next person. When it's someone's time, it's their time, and you can't stop death, And that was a big lesson for me in that one. But I miss both of them so much, and I'm very thankful that I had the time with Joe. Very thankful that I have all those memories of him. Very thankful that I have all the memories of Tammy. Very thankful that she was here so often in these live videos that I can look back and see her comments still. And that she came on here twice. Once when I went right to her house and tried to help her get back into her Facebook. And we made a live video, and then she came on here as a guest on the Pointer Change Meets once and shared her story with us and stuff. So yeah, I'm very thankful for the people that I've had in my life, whether they're here anymore or not. I'm very thankful for their friendship, and I'm very thankful for the lessons I've learned, the lessons they taught me in their life, and the lessons they taught me in their death as well. Because I know this is getting a little somber, and I apologize if anybody's. I don't mean to bring up any bad memories of anybody, but when people commit suicide that I'm close to, or that that I hear about, As a person who struggles with those suicidal thoughts, it's a good, I know, and that almost feels terrible to say that there's a good part of it for me, in the fact that it stops me and helps me in not making that decision. And I don't mean, I hope that doesn't sound cynical or anything. I don't mean to say, that, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I mean, it's as terrible as that is, that's one shining silver lining to it that I can find, is that it's an example for me of what not to do and why not to do it, because like with Joe, I'm friends with his family and I'm friends with his mom, and I got to talk to her after it happened, fairly soon after it had happened. I talked to his mom, and you want to feel pain, if you're an empath or you have any empathy in you at all, talk to a mother who is grieving her son's suicide, and you will, that's a pain, bro. That's a pain. And that's a pain I would never want to cause my family, and I would never want to cause my friends. And so in a way, it's a good reminder for me to never do that to my people, because your life doesn't just belong to you. Your life belongs to everyone you share your existence with. They all have a little piece of you. It is not your decision to make to take your life away from those people. They have a little piece of you. You have a little piece of them. They love you. They have a say in this matter. So don't just take your own feelings and your own emotions and your own stuff into consideration on those big thoughts like that. So I know that pain though. I know those thoughts, so it's rough. It's rough. But thank you, Gavin, for sharing with us. And I hope some of that was helpful for you, bro. Brandy, Maddie, I'm thankful for you and all the hope that you share. I appreciate that, Brandy. Thank you. Mike, thankful for you and what you do, brother. Semper Fi. Right on, Mike. Good to see you tonight, man. Love that. Love that. Got to support the military, right? Let's see. Genesee, I used to check in with people. That's a good thing to do. I have done it a lot more recently, obviously, as I just stated. But check-ins are pretty important. They really are, for you and the people that you're checking in with. Like, right down to like little things too. Like Caitlin is trying to hold herself accountable on working out. So her and her friend Brianna are, when they work out, they send a selfie to each other, hey, got my workout in today. And and they've been motivating each other that way. Those little check-ins really do a lot to help you keep moving forward in this life. Pam's got to run. Have a good night, Pam. Thanks for coming to hang out. Gavin, seriously was life-changing. For sure, bro. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad, man. I'm glad. What else was I going to talk about tonight? We already kind of covered. I had that whole spiel there about losing friends from addiction to recovery was kind of my spiel for tonight. Something that I've had on my mind. Like, people get so worried about losing friends if they come into recovery, but the fact is that you're going to lose friends if you stay in addiction too, so that's just another excuse. It's really just another excuse, and thinking that you're never going to have fun again. I understand the feeling. I understand the thought, because when you're in the depths of your addiction, like when I was deep in my meth addiction, I looked at people that didn't do meth and I was like, how are you just doing things? You're going to restaurants and just hanging out with your family and just up and moving and stuff. Like, when I didn't have meth, I was down and out for like a week. Like, I wake up every once in a while, drink some milk and go back to bed, like, how do people have just natural energy was a big worry of mine, was that itch you could never scratch. And the fear that I was never gonna have my own energy again. And I was never gonna, I don't know, just never be normal, you know, as much as whatever normal is. But that was a fear of mine that I was, you know, that I just wasn't going to be able to function if I didn't have meth. And honestly, the itch that you can never scratch too was a huge worry of mine, that I was always going to want to do meth and never be able to, you know, that was the rest of my life was going to be every day just, oh, I just want to do meth and I just can't, you know, because that's the only experience I had with stepping away from meth ever. When in my active addiction, it was like, oh, that's all I want to do all day long. And it was just fighting yourself, because I could never make it past more than a couple weeks. And I never really tried to make it past a couple weeks, you know? And then once it actually took off, once I actually started working it, not just, I'm going to quit drugs, and instead of doing drugs, I'm going to stay at home and go to work, and that's all I'm going to, you know, and I'm going to work out. Those are the things I'm going to change, you know? And when you just try to make a patchwork change like that, you guys know how it pans out. It doesn't work, right? Like you're still in so much mindset. You still got so much whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's so much going on that you can't just change some little things and hope to step away from the drug addiction that you've been in for 13 years, you know? So that was a big fear of mine, was that I was just always going to want to do meth and never be able to do it again. And the itch that I could never scratch, that worry, that ended up being something I didn't even really think about once I actually started working. Because once I moved down here, I had nobody I knew except for Ryan, and just started working. I started going to counseling. I started volunteering my weekends at the animal shelter. Like I just started filling my time with so much stuff that I didn't even really have time to think about, like the itch that I couldn't scratch. I was so busy that it like took away that worry. I remember like a year or so in thinking about that wow, that was one of my biggest fears, was this itch that I could never scratch. And I haven't even really worried about that itch. I haven't had time to think about that itch, you know? So very thankful that everything worked out, and that I'm here still, and that shit, we're coming up on 6 years meth free. Holy shit. Next month, in fact, less than a month away from 6 years meth free. That's pretty insane. I couldn't imagine 6 minutes back in the day, man. Very thankful for all the shit that I had to go through to get here, you know? It's been a lot of work. It really has. It's been a lot of work, and I'm very thankful for it. What was the other thing I was just talking about that I completely forgot about, and then went on with the itch that I could never scratch? Losing friends? That might have been what I was saying. We already talked about that, though. No fronts, Maddie. No fronts, Dana. No fronts. No fronts. Don't you celebrate me yet. You can cheer for me, because I'm coming up on the well, I'm not even coming up. It's not a finish line. I'm coming up on the checkpoint, you know? You can cheer me on as I go past for another lap, but like, you wait till I cross that damn line. You know what I mean? I always think, hang on, we got somebody that wants to say hello. Say hello there. Hi, little girl. Hi, little girl. Oh, there's your little baby. She's not such a little baby anymore. She's a fat old dog now. Yeah, he's your fat old dog. Look at you. Look at you. Look at. Remember when you were just a little dog? When you were just a skinny little thing on this screen? You remember that? Not no more. No more. Tay-Tay's a big dog now. What am I doing here? I'm gonna have to change the way I got this hooked up. Oh, nope. She's like, I'm out of here. I hate this. You gonna stay? Good girl. There, you can chill. Just quit making mouth noises in the microphone. That's all I ask. Lori's gonna get all upset. Oh, she's out of here. She's done. I switched around my microphone for that. You come in here and give me that shit. Oh, whatever, Tay-Tay. Whatever. camera shy, says Genesee. Right? Right. She's very camera shy. She gets weirded out when I talk to nobody. I mean, I know that you guys are here and you guys know that you're here, but there's nobody in this room but me. And I'm having a full conversation. She gets so weirded out by it. She just looks at me like, who are you talking to? There's no one over there. Who is in that corner right now? And as far as I don't know how dog eyes work, she probably can't even see the screen. It's probably just black for her. You know what I mean? Like she's just like, he is losing his shit. Let's see. She knows we're all watching, says Jesse. She knows we're here. She has her own Facebook page. When you go to bed, Tay comes in here and does lives. She deletes them in the morning. Thanks, good, says Mike. Get out. Do I have to make t-shirts? Do I have to make thanks good t-shirts? I think I'm going to have to make thanks good t-shirts. I tell you. Oh, I'm going to write it down. We might as well. Thanks good with a big old thumbs up. Wouldn't that be great? Oh, and a left-handed handshake. You guys are mean. I don't even care. Oh, Josh, 15,000 reactions in 30 days. What? Right? That's pretty crazy. You guys are doing awesome. Thank you guys for all the reactions and shares and comments on my posts and stuff. Like, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I just got the notification this morning that in the last 30 days, we've had 15,000. Get out of there, taters. Oh, I wish you guys would have seen what just happened. Oh, you missed it. My dog was in the closet over here messing with shit, and she tipped the skeleton sideways and scared the shit out of her. Yeah, the skeleton's back in my closet too. If you guys seen the reel, I took him out of the closet. He's back in there. I put the skeleton back in there. Oh, Josh and Lori, 500 a day, homie. Isn't that crazy? We got just over 15,000 followers here. And so to have 15,000 reactions in a month, I was like, that's pretty awesome. Because like only a small percentage of my followers are active on this page. A lot of them, I'm pretty sure, are bots or something. Because there was a few days there where all of a sudden my page exploded for a few days, but it was all like third world country names and like names that look like they were spelled with ramen noodles and stuff, you know what I mean? So it's like pretty sure a bunch of these people are fake. I don't know how my page got passed out to the scammers, but so there's a few thousand scammers here. So to have 15,000 reactions in a month when you only have 15,000 followers, it's kind of like, damn, that means like a lot of you guys are pulling a lot of extra weight around here reacting to stuff. So to pick up the slack that these other guys are leaving. Josh, I'm sorry, ramen noodles. Josh, so she came out of the closet. Yep, Tay-Tay's gay now. She's just told me. She was like, Dad, we gotta have a talk. You know that poodle at the dog park? She's my girlfriend. Lloyd Daly coming into recovery on December 7th, 2017. I was told to buy a black suit. It all makes sense now. So sad. Amen. Amen. Buy a black suit and a blue suit. A blue suit and a black suit. The blue suit is for your celebrating your achievements, and the black suit is for the funerals. That's the old recovery saying there, man. So sorry to hear that, Lloyd. Sorry to hear that you're going through those black suit moments, man. That's one thing I wrote in the instructions on this thing were to visualize your future self and write, how do you see yourself in the future? What's he look like? What does he dress? What do you eat? What do you drive? Where do you work? Like actually visualize this person and write out what your future self is, who you are in the future. And one of the things that I wrote in that was, the future me wears suits more often than I ever thought I would. And that has come true on a couple different levels. One of the sadder levels that came true is the funerals that I've had to attend. But on the plus side of that is that I wear a suit when I go to church pretty regularly. So I do wear a suit more often than I ever thought I would. That's for sure. Let's see. Gosh, the skeleton made her do it. It totally did. The skeleton scared the crap out of her. She got scared enough to come out of the closet, guys. Let's see. I live in gym clothes to Genesee. Let's see, Lloyd. Matt, do you ever get survivor's guilt? You bet. You bet, man. Why did I make it out? Why was I the one who got to live? Why was I the one who found recovery? Like, when there were so many more people that I can think of that in my mind deserved it more and needed it more. People with kids, people with husbands and wives, and they either stayed in an active addiction or ended up passing away. And I made it out, and it's kind of like, why me? Why did I make it out? Why was that person, why couldn't they do it? And, but you got to remember, it's not a matter of like luck of the draw either, 90% of this is the decisions that we make on a personal level. It wasn't a matter of like you getting picked over that person. It was simply you made the changes. You did this. You put your freaking words, you put your boots on the ground to use it a fourth time. You put your boots on the ground. And I wish more people would. And the longer you stay in recovery and the more you make it work for you, and it seems almost the deeper you were in your addiction and you make recovery work for you, the more it doesn't make sense to you that people are staying. Like, the more it's like, why are you still doing that to yourself? Why are you still out here running and gunning? Like I'm no fucking better than anybody else that I used to do meth with. Like, I am no fucking better than them. They are all good looking, well-spoken, smart, charismatic, funny people. Like, they can do everything that I have done. They literally can do it. Like, you can do anything that I have done. Like, anybody can do the things that we have done, So it's like, why are they still even doing that? All those thoughts, man. All those thoughts tear you apart in recovery. That's for sure. And I can't exactly give you answers for it. All I can do is let you know that you're not alone. That you're not the only person that has those thoughts. You're not the only person that feels that way. But it's rough. It's rough. A lot of recovery is moving into acceptance on things we don't understand. We might not understand why, and why me, and why not them, and all that. But we just have to move into acceptance on it. It doesn't really matter why. What matters is that we're here. And for some reason, God's still got more for us to do here. And he's calling a lot of his warriors home, and we have no say in who he calls home and when he calls them home. Like, we have no control over that. Sucks. It sucks, especially a lot of us people in recovery. We have control issues. People in active addiction have control issues. So it's really hard to accept the things that we cannot control, But It's one of those things, like we say all the time, it's one of those things you just got to take one day at a time, you know, and talk to God on it. Talk to God on it a lot. Either, or even if you don't, you know, I've had people that passed away that sent me into a loss of faith, and I stopped talking to God for a while through it, you know, because I'm just like, this is unfair. I don't agree with your decision on this one, you know, so I'm not praying. I ain't talking to you. I ain't reading your word. I ain't doing none of it, you know, and even still, he'll find a way to get a message through to you. There's always a light in the darkness, and darkness can never overcome the light. It can just magnify it. If you put a candle in a lit room, the candle doesn't really do much, but if you shut off the lights, the more lights you shut off, the brighter that little candle will get. And before you know it, you'll have all the lights off, and that little candle will glow so bright and fill up the whole room, you know? So just know that you always got that candle. You always got that candle burning inside. And smile, because the ones who are gone can't smile anymore, and they want you here smiling for them. That's something that keeps me smiling sometimes. They can't smile anymore, so we gotta keep smiling. And, you know, I remember, it's kind of a weird comparison, but I remember when I was in jail, and I remember when I was in the military, and I would think about my family back home. And all I could think was, I hope they're sitting in comfy chairs. I hope they're eating awesome food. I hope they're hugging each other. I hope they're enjoying their freedom, because this, you know, being here sucks, or, you know, I can't enjoy those things. So I really hope you're enjoying those things. And I kind of think that that's how our loved ones feel on the other side for us. You know, like, man, I hope you sit in that comfy chair and just take a minute and chill. I hope you watch the sunrise tomorrow. I hope you hug your mom a little longer. I hope you pet your dog. I hope you take time for you, because, you know, I can't do that anymore. And I just hope you can. And I hope you take full advantage of all the freedoms you have as a living human being on this planet, being able to live, breathe, and exist in a single moment in time. Because for them, in my belief is when you pass on, you know, well, a Christian says you go to heaven. My thoughts on heaven is that you become part of God. You know, it's like when a wave hits the shore, it doesn't go away. A wave hits the shore, it just goes back into the ocean, you know, and I kind of feel that's like us, like we're waves on the ocean, and God is the ocean, and we're just a wave. You can look at a wave and you can measure it and you can weigh it and you can see that that is a wave, but it's part of the water, part of the ocean, you know. You can look at a person, you can measure them, weigh them, you can see that that is a person, but they're part of something bigger, you know. And I feel that when we pass on, when we release from this mortal coil, we go back into God. And now you are part of God. You see, you feel, you hear, you're with him, you know, like, so they can be everywhere and anywhere and anytime. And they can do it all. They can be everywhere, anywhere, anytime, all at once, you know, like, I can't even fathom that from our perspective of this world. But one time I was praying to my dad, and I was like, Dad, I envy you, you know, being part of God now. And I wish I could see what you can see and just be everywhere and anywhere all at once, you know? And the message I got back from my dad was, shit, I envy you. I wish you get to be just live and breathe and sleep and present in one single moment in time, space, and history. You get, how amazing is that? Out of all of this creation, out of the whole universe, you get to live right here in this single moment in space and time. That's beautiful, beyond words can compare, you know? And I guess it kind of just made me realize, don't be so worried about getting there, you know, because we got something awesome right here. And once we get there, it's total different, you know, totally different. And I don't even want to say what it is exactly, because I'm sure when I get there, it's going to be beyond anything I could have ever imagined it being. but we're only here for a short time, you know? And so let's take full advantage of it. Let's live in the memories of the people that loved us and live for what they knew we could do. Because shit, everybody that I know that has passed away knew I could do something great with my life, you know, and they're all on the other side watching me now. And if they're going to be with me, then I'm going to take them to some awesome places. And I'm going to show them that I can do those things that you said I could always do, you know? And they're going to be right behind me saying, told you so. Told you you can do it. Look at you, you know? And so enjoy the ride, man. Love the relationships you have. Never take a minute for granted. You know, everything is unique. Everything is awesome. Everything is important. So cherish your life. Really cherish it, man. Falling into that survivor's guilt, you know, it's okay. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to feel that way, especially when you start losing some good people. You're going to feel that way. And, but just know you can't live there. You might not understand why it has to be this way, but this is the way it is, you know, and know that there's something more good coming for you. And remember that once they pass on, you know, it's kind of a cliche, but, you know, their pain is over. And that's a beautiful thing. Their trials, their tribulations, their everything they were worried about and anxious and all that stuff, they don't have to worry about any of that anymore. You know, like they got the ultimate release, you know, so weep not for them, for they are on the other side with the loving Father, you know. And we'll be there someday. We'll get there. Nobody gets out of this alive. You know, we all have an expiration date. So just know not to take this for granted. Don't take this for granted. Genesee, I know my dad's dying wish was for me to be sober. Right on. That's a good feeling knowing you're keeping that promise, ain't it? That's a good feeling knowing that you're keeping that promise. I could end the video on that one. It's a good feeling knowing that you're keeping that promise. Gavin, that's right, Maddie. You're a great dude, man. Love you, homie. Right on, man. Good to have you here. Really is. Glad to see you. Sorry you're so salty. You get some pepper. I'm gonna call you Peppery Gavin from now on, just to counteract your salty name. You are now Peppery Gavin. It doesn't have the same ring to it, though. It doesn't. Salty Gavin's good. Patrice is here. Hi, Patrice. Good to see ya. Genesee, absolutely. They want us to live our lives and to be happy. Amen. Amen. Maddie analogy. Maddie analogy. Let's see, Genesee, you ever feel like they know they're going to pass before they do? I do by their post. I guess it depends on the situation if people know they're going to pass. I've always wondered that, like, because like even when you die, you never get to, like, I feel like you just never get to totally know. Unless, you know, I'm in my belief system, you bet, because you're still going to have your consciousness is going to leave this mortal coil, you know. But like from like a human perspective, like the closest you get to knowing that you're dead is like the thought when you have like, I think this is it. I think this is the one right here. Like that's as close as you're going to get on this side of the veil to thinking you're going to die. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like that's. And I've had that thought like a bazillion times in traffic. Like, I think this is the one. This is going to happen. Here we go. I'm still here. Curtis, it helps to get your priorities straight. Might miss the days of hustling, but just keep strong and realize there's better people in your life if you just look for them. Right on, Curtis. Right on. That's an excellent freaking observation there, man. I like that. Lloyd, Matt, coming into recovery, what was your most challenging step from the 12 steps of recovery? Well, I never actually went through the 12 steps of recovery. I'm not actually a 12-stepper. Dun, dun, dun. I know. There's other ways that people can make this happen. There are other ways we can do this, Beavis. We can make this happen many ways. Yeah, fire, fire. All right, I'm done. I'm done. That is as much of the Beavis and Butthead impression you're going to get out of me tonight. But yeah, I never actually went through the 12 steps. I don't actually even know all of the 12 steps. I've used some of them. I borrowed here and there from the 12 steps I did. And from the steps that I did, some of the things that I learned when I was in NA for the first 3 months of my recovery, while I was in jail, I was involved with NA. I don't know if I was in NA, but I was involved with them, sitting in with meetings and stuff and sharing and talking. And I did borrow from them the step of writing down everyone that you'd ever wronged. And I didn't completely go with the bureaucratic way that NA and AA kind of do it, where you write down every person you've ever wronged, and then you go down that list and you contact each person, making amends with them. I never actually went through the list and made amends with people, but I did decide on my own that if these people ever crossed my path, or if it ever came to a point where I felt that I needed to make the amends, I would. And I didn't, for a little while, I made amends with quite a few of them, almost bureaucratically, like going down the list. But I kind of decided on my own that I think sometimes it just didn't feel like the appropriate timing and stuff. So I kind of just took it on my own of, if I run into these people, or if this becomes an issue, or if it's something that I'm beating myself up over or something like that, then I will reach out and make the amends. And that was the hardest step. That was the hardest step of this process for me. But also, once I started it, was the most relieving step of this process, was making amends with people who I had wronged. Yeah, took a lot of gumption. Takes a lot of gumption to call up or even to message somebody that you literally stole from, or that you literally, whatever it is that you did wrong to that person, to call them up or message them and say, hey, back in the day, I did X, Y, and Z, and I feel terrible about it. Is there any way I can make this up for you? Do you have anything that you want to say to me? That kind of stuff. Like, that was hard for me, but also that was the most relieving thing I've done in my recovery. Really. When I first started recovery, my first meeting in jail, the first thing I asked was, how do you forgive yourself for all the bad shit you've done? Because that was the thing that was going to be my big hang up, man, because I had done some bad shit to people. And I felt like I was never going to be able to forgive myself. Like, I quite honestly felt that I had to kill myself because of the things I had done, that I wasn't going to be able to live with myself if I was sober, and I was going to have to kill myself. When I asked that question at NA, I said, how do you forgive yourself for all the bad shit you've done? And what he told me was, by receiving forgiveness from others, you will begin to forgive yourself. That was huge. That was huge, because all my life I'd been told, you need to forgive yourself. Many people had told me, I've forgiven you. You just need to forgive yourself. And I was like, how the fuck do I do that? How do I do it? Okay. And nobody ever had given me a single actual instruction on how to achieve self-forgiveness. They all just told me, you need to forgive yourself. Okay, so what do? Go home, look in the mirror. Excuse me, self. I'm sorry. Okay, self, I forgive you. Nope, I still feel like a piece of shit. That didn't work. I don't know how the fuck to forgive myself. So this guy actually gave me something you could physically do to achieve this self-forgiveness. And he was so right. He was so right. Every time that I've had something that pops up in my memory where I'm like, oh man, that one time when I fucking ripped that guy off, or I told my brother to fuck off, or I stole something from my dad. Unfortunately, the amends I've had to make with my father are me praying to him, because I never got to make all the amends to him that I needed to. I did get to, just apologize to him with a general one on his deathbed. But, there are times when I think of random times and I'm like, oh, man, Dad, I am so sorry for that, But the times that I've had somebody, like not my father, somebody that's still here in the physical world, that pops into my brain that, oh shit, I really fucked that guy over, and I message them and I say it and I talk to them, and 9 times out of 10, they are so thankful that you message, and most of the time they don't even remember that shit happening. And but 9 times out of 10, they are just so thankful that you message them, and they don't want a thing from you. Most of the people I've ever made amends with just said, just keep doing what you're doing. You doing better in life is all the amends we need, So, and when you do that, you'll feel it. You'll feel an internal little bit of, because I don't even know how to describe it, but if the victim of what you did can forgive you for it, it kind of makes you just instantly know, well, I mean, I wasn't even the person who was affected by it. I'm the person who did it. I'm the person who, got one over and actually got a good deal out of that happening. They're the person who got screwed when that happened. And they're willing to say, oh, it's all good, dude. Don't worry about it. You just keep doing you, For me, that's a huge release. I'm just like, if the person who was the victim of what I did can forgive me, then of course I can forgive myself on it, And it moves. You just move, That was pivotal. That was pivotal for me. Christy, hey, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, Christy. How you doing? What time is it? It's 8:30 already. Holy crap, you guys. Jesse, I did this recently with my ex-husband, and he responded by, I don't know what to say. Oh, yeah? Didn't know what to say. Left him speechless. Holy crap. Let's see, Josh, that is something I live with every day. The guilt of what I put my family through. That's intense, right? That's an intense guilt. You're earning their forgiveness, just by being there for them. And that's, I think, what I'm hearing right in your sentence right there. The fact that you're still struggling with the guilt of it, bro, I'm going to guess that you haven't fully reached a place of forgiving yourself on it. Because I know Lori, and I know Hannah, and I know all them, and I'm sure they've forgiven you, and they are like just so happy to have you back in their lives and have you as an active role in their family. We have no control over the past. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. Thank you, Pam. But you can't take back what you did. All you can do is be present now. It's like that old saying I say all the time about making lemonade. If you're making lemonade and you put too much lemon in it and you made it too sour to where you can't taste it, you can't take the sour back out. All you can do is add more water in until you dilute it down to the point where you can taste it, You put a lot of sour in your life, and you get to the point where you can't even stomach the taste of your own life. But you can't take back the bad shit you done. So all you can do is move from this moment forward and put more good in, as much good as you possibly can, until eventually you're going to look back. Because like when you first come into recovery, and you've been here for a while now though, Josh, but for a while though, either way, because if you were in an active addiction, most people are in an active addiction for around a decade, give or take. It's around a decade that most people are in active addiction before they end up in prison, dead, or in recovery, right? Some people make it 25, 30 years in active addiction, especially if you're an alcoholic. You can make it a long time because it's totally legal and you can totally get away with it as long as you don't get too many DUIs, But if you're an illicit drug addict, it's illegal and you end up getting caught and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot more variables. But if you were in your active addiction for 10 years of your life, and then you're in recovery for 5 years, let's say 5, 6 years, that's if this is 10 years, then half of that is 5 years. So you got this much time of bad memories, bad shit, terrible, like losing and just all this nasty shit. You got 10 years worth of memories. Then you got 5 years worth of good shit to look at, So it's kind of like your brain is going to revert to the majority, So by nature, your brain is going to revert back to the old memories of bad shit you did wrong because it's got a lot more of those to remember. But the longer you stay in recovery and the more good memories you make, by creating a beautiful present, we're making a beautiful past to look at. So eventually, you might not be there yet. I'm not there yet. I got really good memories to look at now, but it's taken 6 years to get to this point where I haven't, good memories to look at. But the longer you make it, the more good time you're going to have to look back on. So eventually you're going to look back and you're going to be like, holy shit, I got more years of recovery than I did active addiction. And your memories are going to be so much better because then it's going to be more of a balance. Yeah, you'll still have bad memories because you still got a decade of bad shit to remember. But you'll have a decade of good shit to remember too. So it'll come to a balance. And eventually, hopefully, you can tip those scales and you'll remember good shit all the time, But we're always going to have those bad memories to look back at. One thing that's really helped me to realize is that the past isn't real. It is. It is. It happened. But it's back there. Can't fucking hurt us anymore. That demon that you wrestled him back there. He's fucking in the past, like everything before right now is not real, So don't trip over shit that's behind you. Don't trip over shit that's behind you. Let's see. Josh, I'm going to have to come on the show one day when you have a lot of time so we can start at the beginning of my story. Right on, brother. I would love it. I honestly would absolutely love to have you come on here and share with us, man. It's hard to believe I let that happen, though. Aha! Good. Thank you for saying that, Josh. I see exactly. I think a good exercise for you in forgiving yourself is you have to forgive yourself for knowing better and doing it anyway. That is something that you can focus on forgiving yourself, on forgiving your younger self for knowing better but doing it anyway. Because the dude you were that fell into active addiction, you're just a dumb young kid. You didn't fucking know any better, So you got to forgive that kid for making that stupid mistake, and look back at him and say, you know what, young Josh, little Josh, I forgive you, man. You didn't know any fucking better. You did the best you could with what you had. You were a hurting fucking kid. Had a lot of shit going on. A lot of fucking big aspirations and a lot of big dreams and shit that wasn't going right for you. So that's, you fell into a trap, and that's during shit. You fell into the same trap that all of us have fell into too, So you got this, bro. As adult Josh, you're kicking ass. You're doing great, man. And your family's happy to have you. And I know they're happy to have you. Your family reaches out to me and lets me know how much they love you. So, like when your family in Georgia is messaging some guy in Wisconsin to tell them just to tell them that they love you, Manny, I just wanted to tell you I love Josh. You know what I mean? Like, they fucking love you, dude. They're so happy to have you. Like, and I'm happy to have you here. I'm happy you made the choice. I'm happy you've been rocking with us like the whole fucking time you've been working your recovery and you're here with us, and you're not where you want to be. You haven't achieved complete self-forgiveness yet. You're still living with some shame and some guilt and some regrets, as you will. But over time, one by one, we'll learn to forgive ourselves and we'll learn to keep moving forward, We were just stupid kids. We were just trying to fit in. We were just fucking around. It was just innocent. It wasn't supposed to be what it ended up being. It was never supposed to be that, But that's where we made it. That's where we made it. And honestly, if you had never made those mistakes, you would have made bigger, dumber ones. Because we're dumb. We're dumb people. We make stupid mistakes, right? So if I wouldn't have made all those dumb mistakes, I would have made different, dumber ones. So, so be thankful you walked the stupid road that you walked, because that stupid road you walked led you to this moment right here where I got to hang out with my friends in this live video and talk to you. So if that's what it all brought you to, I'm glad you walked through it, because I'm glad you're here, man. Dana, get some rest. Love you. Love you, Dana. I'm excited to have you on Sunday. I'm so excited to get back to doing interviews and open conversations about recovery. I love that you guys get stuff from me, but I love to have different walks of recovery and different walks of addiction come on here and share testimonies and stuff, because I can't relate to every single one of you fuckers. You guys are all crazy, you know? So I got to get some other crazy fuckers to come up here and tell their story, so you crazy fuckers can relate to this crazy fucker instead of this crazy fucker, you know? So I'm excited to have some crazy fuckers come on here and tell their crazy fucking stories. Patrice, Maddie, I absolutely love how you always talk and include everyone and give some super special comments or things to really think on. Keep shining, brother. Oh, thank you, Patrice. I love that you come by. Genesee, first half of my life was a shit show, so it's gotta be awesome the last half, right? It's fuck started from the bottom, now we're here, you know? At least we ain't gotta look at that shit. If it's not a dumpster fire, it looks pretty fucking good, you know? When dumpster fire becomes your normal, fucking the Super 8 motel looks pretty damn good. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck, it's gonna be prettier. Oh, man. Thank you for that, Maddie. Truly needed this. I'm glad you're here, man. I really am. Glad you came by. Glad we got to talk. Courage to Change. Woo! What's going on? Good to see you. Watching over on YouTube. Right on. Right on. I love this. That's one thing I miss about StreamYard, is that I can multicast. I can be on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. And I don't have a lot of followers on YouTube. If you guys are YouTubers, go follow my YouTube after this. I need more support. I need more subscribers on YouTube. So hit up YouTube and subscribe to The Point of Change on there as well. But yeah, this was good. I'm really glad you guys all showed up and hung out with me for a while. Thanks everybody for coming. I'm glad this worked. We found a way around Zuckerberg. His fucking glitch. I found a way around his glitch. If I go live on here, it doesn't glitch. Ha! We achieved it, you guys. Awesome. Oh, Brian O'Brien, perspectives. Yes, perspectives. Jency, thanks for having me. Oh, no problem. Glad to have you here. Really am. Stephanie, good night. Good night, Stephanie. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming by tonight. Remember, forgive yourselves for not knowing any better. Forgive yourselves for falling into that trap. It's okay. We all fell into it. We all found a way out, you know, and now we're making life better. Live in this peace. Live in this serenity. This is a beautiful place to be. All right, guys, I hope you have a beautiful night. I'll see you guys tomorrow evening. And then, am I going to be live Saturday? I'm not totally sure on a live schedule for the next few days, except for Sunday. I know Dana Moore is going to be here at 7. Tomorrow, I will try to be here at 7. I'm not going to promise anything, though. I love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful night. I will see you guys soon. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay clean.